Right. Oh no! Alright, how are we gonna make this work? There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6. So, obviously, this is still a very new channel, new kind of doodad. So, give it some time, give it a couple of minutes. Generally, it takes between 5 and 10 minutes for people to log on. So, give it some time.
Wherever you go, whatever you do. Very dysfunctional love song, by the way. Wherever you go, whatever you do. Are we live? Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'll be right here waiting for you. Really? What if she goes to jail for trafficking meth after banging your dad?
Very valid point.
So, like, whatever you do. Sounds very dysfunctional, Richard Marks. Very sketchy last name. Alright, welcome everybody. I don't know what number episode this is. I believe it's 944, but I don't know. It's called Beartaria Times is here. That's right, guys. BeartariaTimes.com is now live. Enjoy it. We're about to explore it. Donate if you can. We're not even taking advertisers because I kind of think advertising is lying. Or if someone's like, I'll pay you to promote my business, it's like...
First Aid Bear.
Well,
what's up, brother, man?
Business?
Welcome,
Okay,
welcome.
So, it's all listener funded, and...
What's going on, man? How was your weekend? Nice. So how did you go about producing that second video? Tartarian, I enjoy speaking to you. So I'm gonna let you in. Fair warning, Tartarian. If your connection just like bugs out, then it bugs out, bro. Like, we know your connection sucks, but I love you and I love talking to you. Do you have a good connection, bro?
Produce what? Yeah, I'm.
Oh, there's already a loading screen. Come on. I love talking to Tartarian Productions because he's got so much gravy. But because he lives in the middle of fucking nowhere, his internet connection kind of sucks. And Tartarian is gone. That's a bummer. Understandable. No biggie.
It's free, so if you can donate, please do at BeartariaTimes.com, and hopefully we deliver the value that you're expecting. Good Sunday evening, everybody. Oh yeah, absolutely. Good evening, dude. Yeah, Empathy is live as well.
Starting to get good at tabletop videos. I don't know what that means, but it sounds interesting.
Scale. You know, I was talking to Amy yesterday about all the stuff that's going on in the world, and she's like, and now let's see how history happens. Like, what do you mean? She's like, they could say anything happened during this time, and I wouldn't be able to verify it or non-verify it. She goes, I have no connection to out there. And I was like, that's awesome because it's better as a wife and mother to have her world local. You know, she thinks about the food and the neighbors and soccer practice and stuff. You know, which is great. But I now she had that insight where she's like, in 20 years,
Bosnia Bear, Beartarian, Tanker Bear, all of us, welcome. What's going on, guys? Any fun adventures from the weekend that you would like to tell me about? Like Tartarian Productions just tried to log on real quick, but his connection is notoriously poor. So, unfortunately, he was not allowed to be a correspondent due to his poor connection. Hopefully, his connection can increase in value or connectivity, what may have you, and we can hear from him soon. As of right now, no contact. Band 2.0, welcome, brother. All good here. Melib Aus. Tanktarian, welcome. Does anybody have fun adventures from the weekend? And Band 2.0, like, I enjoy you, man, but don't try and just tell us about, like, crazy conspiracy theories and, like, how this random event from 3 months ago also is, like, the exact, like, exactly coincides with what just happened 2 weeks ago. We listened to you for a while, and I respect your position where you think shit's go down in your life. Like, I respect that, and I get it. I've been there before. But from the evidence you presented to me, I think you're being a little bit paranoid. So, like, with love, I present that opinion, and I don't, like, Band 2.0. I don't want to seem hateful or like whatever. Like, I want you to succeed. I want you to, like, do the best in your life. And it's like, I know, like, my opinion can be completely wrong. I understand that. But, like, the last time you were on here, like, you were just talking for, like, minutes. Like, minutes and minutes and minutes. And you didn't quite make a whole lot of, like, cognitive sense. Like, you had a variety of valid points, but you didn't quite connect those points too well. And I'm not saying that to encourage you to jump back on to clarify your points, because, to be quite fair, bro, like, unless you can, like, tell your opinion or tell us your opinion in a much more succinct manner, I don't want you talking for another 20 minutes to give us, like, a 2-minute point. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. It's like you're pointing out interesting coincidences, and my argument is yes, the coincidences that you notice are interesting, but I'm not saying that or subscribing to the concept that all of these coincidences are interlinked in a threatening way to your life, in the way that, like, you described last time you were on. And that's why I'm kind of hesitant to, like, allow you back on, bro, is because, well, yeah, your connection was shitty, that too. But it's like, I don't want you to be talking for, like, 20 minutes on, like, your family connections and, like, all these specific things, because while they may be relevant to you, I don't quite trust the source, man. Like, the various coincidences that you were telling us about last time were decades apart in some cases. And so it's like, if the coincidences are decades apart, it's not really a reliable source. You know what I'm saying? Melbourne, Australia. Wait, so Bosnia Nova Bear, are you from Melbourne? Tell me more about that, bro. That sounds interesting. Like, did you start? Oh no, you boss. I read it wrong. I'm a retard. So Boss Nova Bear, not Bosnian. I'm a retard. So Boss Nova Bear, Bajo Bear, welcome. But Boss Nova Bear, tell me more about like what's going on in Australia right now. Yeah, like thank you for forgiving me for being a retard. But now that I've identified how stupid I am and I can read your name properly, tell me what tell me what's going on in Australia, bro. Because I've heard a lot from Tom Barnett, but you being an independent source, I want to hear what's going on in Australia from your perspective. Bajo Bear, obviously, welcome, welcome. New Jazz Bear, I don't know what that's a reference to. But Bajo Bear, what's going on in California? And are you still just a shaved little Joe the Toe? Or do you have more gravy to speak? What's going on, bro? Obviously, I'm mocking you, but I love you. Yeah, boss. That's what I'm hearing, is that Melbourne is in, like, super crazy lockdown. And that's, like, why Tom Barnett was doing his educational videos and supporting the various protests that were against the stage 4 lockdown over in Melbourne. But like, what part of the country are you in, and how are the lockdowns affecting you? I'm fighting hiccups. Forgive me, dude. Just like in general, tell the Bears, like inform us, like, on the ground reporting what's going on. I hate hiccups. Inform us what's going on in Australia. We we want to know for sure. So Ban 2.0 says, "Yeah, I'm not trying to steal your sunshine. I can do my own stream, and if you like, you can check it out. And then, if you think I can make a clear argument, we can talk about it." Ban 2.0, feel free to do that, but because you have yet to make a coherent and clear argument on this stream, I have no desire to go watch your own stream. That's a classic Gamma move. I'm not calling you a Gamma. It's just that's like a tendency in which Gammas tend to exhibit. So just like warning, like don't do that, bro. And I understand that you and I have had some disagreements, and like you think that like the whole world's out to get you. But bro, let me encourage you. The whole world is not out to get you. I understand you've gone through some serious shit. You've gone through the fucking grinder of late, and you've had some like losses in the family. I feel that, and I'm sorry for your pain. That being said, don't go crazy conspiracy Alex Jones level, bro. That's not healthy for you. Like, you've got better things that you can do with your life. And, like, also take into consideration, your family's from New Mexico. New Mexico is one of the most, like, tribalistic, violent states in the country. So if your people are dying in New Mexico, chances are it was due to that like tribalistic crazy nonsense that's just normal in New Mexico. I've got lots of friends in New Mexico. It's a very violent place. I get it. Just because your family members died because New Mexico is fucking crazy doesn't mean that there's a conspiracy against you, bro. Like, trust me. Trainer Bear, welcome, welcome. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. So obviously, Ban 2.0, you're not never gonna steal my sunshine because I don't have fucking sunshine. So fuck you. The people. Sorry, I was making a joke. Um, the people who are awake to the nonsense are fine. The peeps who are following the narrative are following nonsense like slaves. All right, appreciate that, Boston Nova. And yes, like I just like kind of glossed over that, like, oh yeah, I appreciate that, thank you, bro. But like seriously, I asked that and you answered, so thank you, brother. I really do appreciate that. And then you expanded on it later on, like Owen says, when you see it for yourself, when you see it for what it is, it has no power on you. My wife and I went to the shop for the first time yesterday without a mask. No one questioned us. It was freeing. Yes, yes. Bosna Nova Bear. Fuck yeah, dude. You're a fucking legend, dude. Just because of that, I love you. And I know I'm a little bit behind in the chats, but let me catch up, guys. I want to give everyone proper attention. Ban 2.0. Alright, no, you're fucking crazy. They're not out to get you, bro. I promise. Like, I promise you they're not out to get you. Yeah, dude, Bajo Bear, exactly. You don't pay too much attention to politics? Like, fucking exactly. Like, you just, like, Bajo Bear, that's one of the many reasons why I love you. You just crush, and you do your thing, and if politics, like, try and force themselves upon you, you just use the most comedic, basic, logos-based arguments, and you don't have to deal with that. And obviously, like, you've yet to do that specifically in the court of law, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. Oh, Bosa, you're over in Victoria. Dang. So, Bosa, what's your opinion on the RCMP and like the recent COVID laws? Is that like an actual thing that affects you guys up there, or like how is that working out? Because I've heard vague stories about the RCMP making checkpoints for COVID and blah blah blah. But Bosa, like you're in the shit. Like, can you tell me more about that? All right, and now we're all caught up. I obviously I skipped a couple of comments, but those are just people talking shit and people being awesome. Trainer, I know and I'm familiar with your enthusiasm. Ease the fuck up on Boss because he's giving us good information right now. I get it. All of Canada is cucked and they're all bitches. That being said, Boss Bear might not be a bitch. So let's learn from his experiences. $5,000 fine. Oh yeah, Victoria. Oh, so Victoria, so Southern Australia. So not even Canada. We were all fucking wrong. We were all retards. Well, Trainer Bear, you were asking questions, and like, you know what? Forget it. I was being stupid. I was probably being stupid. Trainer Bear, I apologize. I was probably being stupid, and I was probably being overprotective of Boss because I don't know. I feel like Boss is a really good contribution to the community, and I was being overprotective. So Trainer Bear, I apologize. But that being said, Boss, we still want the fucking knowledge. Now that we've established you are in Australia and we're not as retarded as we were 30 seconds ago, give us the Australian Victoria Territory gravy with respect to COVID, if you can, please, brother. Yeah, everyone's like, yes, crushing, we're all good. All right, cool. Dude, boss, honestly, dude, like, if you're able to, like, do you want to log on the stream and, like, tell us in person if you've got a good connection? Well, see, Trainer Bear, yeah, I'm familiar with those official restrictions in Australia, but those are the restrictions are different within each like state or territory of Australia. And like for example, the area where Tom Barnett is, they're much more free than like Victoria or it's like South Wales, so on and so forth. And so that's why I'm so curious about Boss, is because he's there, he's in the shit, and Bell Reaver, welcome, welcome. And I just want to know more. That's it. Oh, so Victoria's the only place where like those crazy restrictions are? Is that what you're saying? Boss Bear or Boss Nova Bear. Can you confirm? Trainer Bear was saying that Victoria is the main place where the crazy restrictions are. Yeah, Trainer Bear, I agree. Trainer Bear saying would love Boss Nova to go live. I completely agree. And Boss Nova, if you're able, like hit the request, like, and in fact, I'll hit the request for you, see if I can. And the reason why I say I see if I can is because I'm slightly retarded. Search. No, not V. Boss. All right, cool. Boss Nova Bear. I just added you to the chat. So if you are able to, feel free to log on, brother man, because we all want to hear news from Australia. Oh, there we go. There we go. Boss Nova Bear.
G'day, how's it going?
What's up, brother?
Hi,
Give
fellas.
us the gravy, man.
How are you? JapJap. I've been watching you guys for a little bit now. I've only just joined Instagram. I've been watching Owen a lot on what pops up on YouTube. And I just joined Instagram recently to find you all here. Fantastic. Yeah. Look, I won't go too long. But we've had about just sort of losing track of the days and the times. We've probably had about 8 weeks of stage 4 lockdown.
8 weeks of lockdown, you're saying?
Pardon?
8 weeks of lockdown so far?
Yeah. So we've been all the schools are shut. Pretty much in the US, I think it's very similar. All the schools are shut down. Only essential services are working. Essential trades, construction. I think only about 25% of construction is working. So anything, like Owen says, like in his stuff, anything to do with a trade or working with your hands is surviving. To a great extent, all the restaurants, all the cafes, all that sort of thing is closed down, and the government are just giving like compensation payments just to keep the economy going, to keep people from not fighting in the streets and eating each other. Essentially, I mean, if they weren't paying that compensation, it'd be a hellhole.
Yeah.
Like as Owen's been saying, get out of the cities, and it's true. He was saying that 2 years ago. So where we're at is just
That's so crazy. So like in addition to like all the COVID nonsense that you're speaking of already, I recently read a news article where China was buying up like your iron industry, buying up your water, and buying up all like these vital industries in Australia. Like, do you have more knowledge about that you can tell the bears about?
This is the thing. See, there's a couple of narratives going on here, and I think the the state, not the federal government, the state government are using that as an opportunity to. I can't say this is 100% because none of us really know. Like people are guessing and saying this. There's a lot of stuff going on. But there are things that are true, like, for example, our Premier, Dan Andrews, has been to China 30 times in the last couple of years.
Right.
Okay? He's borrowed, all this massive construction is going on in Melbourne, and it's all the money's been borrowed from China.
Yeah.
And what China's doing in the South Pacific and African Indian countries is they're, you know, like I think they've bought the port of Darwin, which is north of Australia. And I think with the money that we've lent, they've bought the port of Melbourne, which is in Victoria.
Well, dude, like the CCP calls the port of Darwin their like port into Australia and the South Pacific.
Really, I didn't know that.
And I know that the most of the bears don't know shit about the politics of Australia, but that's a big deal because like as the Chinese Communist Party dominates the country of Australia more and more, that's going to lead them to corrupt the rest of the world. Like, you guys are like the wall, and like that's why I want you to like tell the bears more about that, like the corruption of the various Australian politicians, how that's affecting your real estate prices. Like, it's like you just drop all the gravy, dude. Like, tell us about Australia.
Yeah. Well, real estate's down about 30%. A good friend of mine, he's from Oregon, Northern California. He came out here as a pastor. It didn't work out, and he went into real estate. And he just started his own business. He watches Owen as well. He thinks he's amazing, and the Bears. And he's out of work. He's been out of work since March. So everything he's worked for in the last 5 years is falling off the roof. But the thing is, he has faith. He has family. He has, you know, and so he doesn't care. You know, he doesn't care. And I think that's the thing. No matter what happens, if you've got faith and community, you know, which is a strong message I've got from these streams over the last couple of years, that's really grounded me, is that nothing can touch you. You know, ultimately, you know,
exactly.
No matter how hard it gets, you know, even if it comes to death, you know, it says, you know, better a man die on his feet than you know the saying, beating on his knees or whatever it is. But
like when push comes to shove, in the most difficult moments of your life, the Lord protects you in ways that you can't possibly begin to comprehend before the event happens. But then looking back at the effect, you're like, wow, God, thank you so much for guiding me and protecting me in XYZ ways.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Like, you know, we say grace in the evening and we just give thanks and just making, you know, just like at the moment, this virus isn't affecting me at all. I work as a nurse. I do the only thing that has affected me is my street busking. I go out street busking 4 nights a week. I haven't busked since the end of February. But I don't care. I've been productive and creative and doing other things. So you just phone went dead. The phone went dead. I'll better put it on charge in a minute. So it hasn't affected me, but the thing is, all the people who it's not affecting say, oh, it's not affecting me, I don't care. But there's so many people in the city who are jumping off buildings, and you know, businesses they've worked for all their life are falling apart, and they're the people we've got to fight for, because eventually it's going to affect everyone.
Yeah.
And so the positive things that this virus has brought about, before I say anything more, is it's woken up Australia.
Well, before you say anything more, expand on how that suicide rate is going, like with the people that are panicking, the weak people right now, how that suicide rate is going to expand into other demographics and to other people that are like, as of right now, they're like, oh no, I'm a strong person, but they don't even know the chaos that's coming. And like, so explain that a little bit more, just so that people can hear.
Okay. I'll do my very best. So because I work in emergency department and mental health in the ED departments. So in March we had a normal influx of patients coming in. Then when COVID hit the scene, you know, everything is gloved and gowned. And now if you go into an ED department in Melbourne, a stronger majority of your patients who are admitted won't be COVID affected, of course, because we know that's nonsense. But everyone will be treated as COVID. Everyone comorbid who dies, like everywhere else around the world, is classified as a COVID death. But there's been a steady increase of mental health patients being admitted to the emergency departments. because of the isolation and the effects of the virus and the fear that's been permeated from the mainstream media in our state. We don't get any news about the suicides through the mainstream media. It's all through alternative media. So I can't actually give you any solid statistics or facts about that. But from what I've seen working in health and what I've read around Melbourne from other Melburnians in Victoria about the the family violence, the suicides, there's going to be a big cleanup, I think, at the end of this whole scenario. If it ends, like, that's the question that's on everyone's minds. Is this just going to be an ongoing thing? So, people, I post a lot of stuff on my Facebook page, and they're saying, oh, well, have you got an answer for this problem? I said, well, get out of the cities, live, shorten the supply chain, have a trade, have something to work with your hands, build strong communities, know your neighbours, things I've learnt from the Bears. And that's my mindset now. That's what I'm planning for. That's the next step.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So would you say that it's kind of similar to where over here in America, where like we have our own specific like identification factors for like collapse of the cities, et cetera, where it's like, all right, shit's going down. Like in your area, it's like, oh, China's buying the world, so we've got to buy our own homesteads and buy our own water property rights and
Absolutely.
like grow that way. And like there's very specific allegories that work with different specific geographical areas, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always just learning. I mean, every time I watch Owen's stream or one of the other Bear streams like yourself, I'm always learning something. So, for example, Owen was talking about, if you're going to buy something, don't pay 10% and have a $500,000 loan. Buy what you can afford, and work with what you've got. And I think that's just so wise in these times. And then just build up. So that's what I'm saying to friends. A lot of people are just preaching this negative narrative, and it's almost feeding into what the fear dynamic they want you to. You're almost being a propagandist for the mainstream.
Well, it's like Ben Shapiro showing the footage of cuties and be like, "Oh, how dare Netflix!" But he's showing child porn as he's saying, "How dare you?" Same thing. Yeah, I totally get it, bro.
Yeah. So we're not there yet. We're still living in the city, and we've got, my wife and I got plans to expand and do stuff. But at the moment, just do what you can. Snow.
Exactly.
Yeah, stay positive and stay connected with community. I've got quite a few friends who are like, one of my friends has been for quite some time now on social media, going on about the insurgence of the CCP in Australia, and he actually got called out from his workplace and threatened with, he was being racist and things like that.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just crushing him, not in a good way. And I said, man, you need to. The problem is you're isolated. If you're going to talk like this, you need to be part of community, because you'll just it'll crush you. What's the point of doing what you're doing, speaking truth, but then letting it destroy you? So
exactly, speaking truth without community is worthless.
Absolutely, there's no momentum. He'll just be annihilated. And I said, man, jump on the stream. Get on Instagram and just follow. There's multiple discussions going on from the Bear community, man, who have got the like-mindedness.
So, Bear is asking about the gay guidelines in Victoria. He wants to know more about the gay guidelines in Victoria, specifically. Right now, we've got a loading screen, so don't give us all the gravy while we're waiting for you to load back up. Come on, brother man. We want you to load back up. You've got the gravy. Oh, goodness. Oh, wait. But there we go. Joining back up.
Sorry, I missed that. I dropped out. Sorry. You mentioned
No,
about the
no worries, brother.
you mentioned the gay community or something.
Yeah, so Trainer Bear was curious about the gay like guidelines with respect to the COVID stuff.
I don't know. The only thing I've had happen with me is that I was on a Donald Trump stream when he was doing a live thing, and there was some shills on there having a go at him and who else. And I called the guy. I said, "Oh mate, you're just gay." And obviously he was a guy in the US, and somehow it fed back to my workplace at the hospital in Geelong in Victoria. And human resources rang me up and said, "Oh, what's all this about?" I said, "Man, I'm just word gay. Well, what do you want me to call him?" I said, "Nothing wrong with the word gay. It's depending on the definition of what you term it." So they got on to me about that, sent me out some paperwork, and I've not heard from them since. And I've deleted my workplace from my Facebook page too, because it's none of their business what I do or say. So, but I think the LGBT movement in Victoria, just to bring it back to our current leader, Dan Andrews, and there's quite a few narratives in Victoria why, conservative people, Christians, family people are not happy with, is that he wanted to introduce a program that, I don't know if you have this in the US, it's called Safe Schools, to protect kids from bullying. But it's really a program, I think, introduced by the World Health Organization to sexualize children at an early age. Like it introduced 4-year-olds to the concept of masturbation, etc.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
So,
have it by a different name. That's why I didn't recognize it. But it's in America already. We have it by a different name.
Cool. So he's got that going on here. So last election we wanted him out just for that reason. And then there's also his relationship and connection to the CCP. And then his draconian laws are just so extreme. And it's interesting, the uniforms the police wear now have changed. They're using, might be very similar now to what you have in the US. They're using semi-automatic rifles at the protests. They're wearing Darth Vader helmet type design things, and they've really stepped it up. They're not a police force anymore. They're a sort
paramilitary.
of paramilitary. And so a lot of Victorians, the good thing about this virus is a lot of people are collectively waking up. Like it's awesome, man. It's really, there's a real grassroots movement happening here in Melbourne that we've never seen before. People were just asleep. As soon as you start taking people's their money from them, they start to wake up. We couldn't protest in Victoria because of the lockdown laws. It's I think $2,500 fine for protesting, and but the rest of Australia, in the different states, for example, Queensland, 7,000 people gathered in protest to free Victoria from the draconian laws that Daniel Andrews was issuing on us. And I watched the live stream of that. Someone was filming it in Brisbane, which is about 2 or 3 days drive from Melbourne. And it was the first time in my entire life, JapJap, I felt proud to be an Australian. Like God, family, nation. Like these people were part of a movement of people rising up. Bears, but not knowing they're bears yet. Yeah, so these are some of the really positive things that I see happening in, the light that's shining in the darkness, as to say. Sorry, Trini, I'm not able to give you a lot of insight about what's happening with the gay community and the laws and legislation with them. I know all that we're probably very much being conditioned, like all through the hospital, there's, posters on the wall. If anyone, says this or does that to someone in the gay community, there's someone you can call. We don't tolerate this, that, and the other against LGBT. So it's really infiltrated throughout the whole of our culture in Melbourne. They're the special boys, yes, Owen would say. They're the special group. You're not allowed to touch them. And my ancestry is, I won't go into that. I'm just rambling. Sorry, man.
No worries, but
whereabouts in the US?
Answer Astrocule. What is it called in America? It's called the education system.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, yeah, it's like I grew up in a family that my dad and his brother were grew up in a Christian sort of evangelical type thing, middle class, whatever. And they both went to university. They came out the other end as atheists, socialists, and porn addicts. You know, and I just think so. All my life, Mum has always said to me, you know, it was your dad took the ticket, but it was the education system that perverted him. You know, and so it's been going on for a very long time, right? You know, it's not just the last couple of decades. You know, 30, 40 years, this indoctrination of academics, intellectuals, or whatever, or you know, students in tertiary education are just coming out convinced there's no God, you know, etc. So yeah, as it's happening over there, it's happening here. Yeah.
Yep.
Whereabouts in the US are you, JapJap?
I'm in Arizona, so
Okay.
over close to the west coast of America.
Okay. Okay. How's it going there for you guys?
It's going really well because like most of the large cities in America, when they were burning from BLM, because Arizona is a very conservative state, like the Phoenix metro area where I live, it didn't burn like it did like the other cities did. Like there was a couple attempted BLM riots, but they were shut down very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it's like I've got the large city vibe, but thankfully the majority of this large city is conservative. So the
Good.
city isn't burning quite yet.
It's quite because the media we get from the US, it almost looks like, and I'm just interested to hear how you guys perceive it, being in the country and how you see the media portraying everything. We just get the image that all of America's on fire. Every street's burning. You know, they're about to stump down the White House. But I just know that the media, yeah, I know that's not true. I know it's a portrayal of an image they're trying to portray. Is that? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's spot on. Like China is trying to portray the concept that all of America's on fire. It's not. Just the major sodomite cities are on fire. And like me living in a major city that's not on fire because it's conservative, like not all the major cities are on fire.
Okay.
Just the retard cities are.
Yeah. It's bizarre. And I'm sure, like for example, all the protests in Germany and London, like there was like 1 million protesters in Berlin. We never saw that on mainstream media.
Really?
The weekend of the protest in Melbourne, when all the police jailed and fined everyone, there was probably about 300 people who protested. That was televised with the protesters sort of fighting with the police. But the protest on the same day that was going on in Brisbane, where there were 7,000 people just singing and being free and saying, you know, free Victoria, wasn't televised. So it's like it's what they don't do that reveals who they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
like they suppress hope on purpose.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why, you know, I've learned, you know, when little keywords when it says when they're shutting him down, his not his Instagram, his PayPal, he knew he was over the target site from what they took from him. So he was on the right track. And it's like what they don't show on TV, then you know you're over the target zone.
Yep.
You know? So, yeah, it's exciting times. I had my Jewish friend Des Oliver this morning telling me to come and join with them. He was really giving me a hard time this morning about some things I was posting on my Facebook page. But I'm just rambling, man. That's just funny. It's quite. I've got 2 Jewish mates, and they just say, "Oh, don't worry about the goyim, the goyim." And I can get into that conversation with them. I've known these guys a few years because my heritage was Jewish back in Prussia, and they were just Jewish. Anyway, when they moved to Australia, they became Protestant. So I say, I own Jewish heritage. So they feel they can confine me and talk to me as though I'm one of them. And it really, I was saying this to my mother because she's really pro-Israel because of her evangelical thing. And I say, look, Mum, I'm not anti-Jew, but Daniel learned that from Owen. We still have to be able to call them out without without being criticised. And just to hear these guys talk about the goyim as though they're dirt just makes me realise that, you know, a lot of things Owen has said, he's on the money. You know, he really is.
Well, it's like the most racist people in the world get triggered by anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
In the majority of cases, it's not anti-Jewish. It's just
No.
like, why are you being such an asshole, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, because, you know, Owen said countlessly on his stream, I love the Jewish people. I love that they have a nation. As long as they keep out of the other 42, or how many other nations, 100-something other nations that have invaded in the last 300 years.
207,
Yeah.
I believe.
So, you know, there's reason for it. I mean, why I said that about my Jewish friend, he's saying to me, you know, you need to get behind your leader, Dan Andrews, you know, and da-da-da-da. And I just think, mate, you guys, you're saying you're spiritual and religious, but you're asleep as a dead log. You know, you're wanting to support and I just, you know, anyway, I've been on a live stream before, so I'm just feeling a bit like, okay.
You're just speaking truth, and everyone's loving it, bro.
By the way, when I was watching a stream, one thing I want to say, man, is, so with these lockdowns, right? I don't know if this is happening in the US. So if an organizer of one of these protests is, yes, hello, hi, honey. If one of the organisers of these protesters in Melbourne is seen to be, what's the word, agitating or organising a protest, the police can arrest them for incitement. Okay, so you may have seen it on social media. There was a woman, a pregnant woman, who was arrested in Victoria recently for posting on her Facebook for people to go to one of the protests.
I saw that.
Yeah, she was fined and protested. She was fined for that. So one of the protesters or one of the organisers of the protesters who was fined for incitement had a lovely collection of Japanese swords just like yourself. The police smashed down his door and confiscated his swords because he was labelled a right-wing activist. So that's the thing too here. Quite a few of the people it's a mixed bag of left and right people who are organising these protesters, but the mainstream media are calling it's a right-wing extremist groups that are organising these protesters. It's so disgusting, you know.
Everyone who disagrees with like the stupid leftist progressive beliefs is labeled a right-wing extremist.
Yeah. Hi, Janine. Yeah, so it's just crazy watching it. You watch the mainstream news and you just, when you see them, you know, the presenters saying, "Oh, more right-wing activists have assembled in the city of Melbourne," you go, "That's just lies." It's absolutely. The more you see it for what it is, it strengthens your conviction. What's this? How much of American politics are dumpsters? Banjo, I think Australian politics is very much influenced by what happens in America. A lot of people tell me off for posting stuff about Trump on Facebook. But they said, why don't you just talk about what's happening in Australia? I said, because what happens in the US sets the tone for the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
especially because Australia is a relatively minor English-speaking country that's considered part of the West, even though it's nowhere near Western Europe.
Yeah.
It's a really unique position you guys have.
Yeah. And then we're sort of wedged in between, economically wedged in between China, but I guess majority of people ethically connected to the US. So yeah, it's going to be interesting times here. I don't think about Australian news, so it's interesting how it forced. It was how in news, so it's interesting how it forced informed. Okay, yeah, Commonwealth countries. Yeah, yeah. But there's a whole thing going on here in Australia about the roots of our. There's a real massive upturning going on here about Freemasonry and how it's infiltrated through everything. But we don't need to go there. But it's really big. You know, it's like a lot of people who weren't awake to this a year ago, who would mock me for it, are all saying, "Yeah, I get it." And that's where the positive things are happening. You know.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how it goes, is the sheeple just go with whatever's popular. So if whatever's popular sounds like it's of Logos and they happen to line up with it, it's like, oh, great. But if they happen to not line up with Logos, which happens much more often, it's like, all right, I understand what's happening. I'm not going to get frustrated, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, JapJap, I might split the scene, man. My wife's been sticking her head in the door, and I'm gonna go hang out with her. But it's about what time is it here? It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm gonna go do a few things. But I'll continue jumping on and following your streams as you pop up at all hours of the day and night. I don't know. It's at night time there, obviously.
Yeah, so late night with JapJap is from 8 p.m. Arizona time to 10 p.m. Arizona time. So, like, right now, we're almost at 9 p.m. Arizona time. Okay. So, like, right now is a perfect time for you to, like, go do your stuff, and then we can log on and have a whole new person for the next half of the stream.
Yeah, cool. All right, brother. Great chatting with you.
Definitely, dude. I love your insight, and I really appreciate you like sharing your knowledge. Like, it was fantastic talking to you.
Bless you, man. Love you, Roch. See you, fellas.
God bless, brother. Have a great day. Look forward to talking to you soon.
All the best.
Farewell, friend. And that, guys, was a legend. So, given Boss Nova's thoughts on Australia, do you guys have anything else to add? What are you guys' thoughts? Have you had any fun adventures? How was your weekend, etc., etc.? We've got about 7 minutes left in this first half of the stream. So, talk to me, guys. What's up? Steven, let's discuss if Australia is a real place. Warbeard, I love it. Well, considering we just talked to someone who claims to live in this imaginary location, or potentially imaginary location, maybe he actually lives there, or maybe he just thinks he lives there, and we really don't know what Australia really means. Maybe Australia is secretly behind the ice wall, and he just thinks he lives on this side of the ice wall. We don't really know. Grabble, 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 grabble. Bell Reaver, exactly. Australia is behind the ice wall, or beyond. Australia is a small cave in the Pacific Southwest region of the United States. Good news, Bear. Welcome, welcome. So, good news, Bear. As you're welcomed into this scenario, we just talked to someone from Australia, and so obviously we're discussing whether or not Australia is a real place. I love the Bears so much. Australia is the beginning of what's coming. Yes, Australia is the first island prison. It's just the British Empire fucked it up and it accidentally became an independent nation. Oh darn. I heard that Australians were just British Texans. Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. So, Lair Bear, like, I get where you're coming from, but the Brits literally tried to, like, that's why Australia started. They tried to make it into a prison island, and it didn't work. So now Australia is an independent nation. It's hilarious, but it's also true. Well, yeah, exactly, Good News Bears. Never give up your guns. They got their accents from watching the movies. They just thought they came up with it. Oh, Bajo Bear. Kind of like a forced accent, psyop. Oh, Bajo Bear. I think it's much more likely that because they were prisoners from England, they just like carried along the English accent, and that after a couple hundred years of like being separated from England, they've got their own unique version of their accent. But yeah, your hypothesis is good too. Corky, it's a stingray! It's not a knife, it's a fucking stingray, mate! And then Steve Irwin dies. Oi! I learned how to talk like this crazy of Steve Irwin. Oi! I learned how to talk like this cause of Steve Irwin. Not me mom. A for effort, Bajo Bear. A for effort. Well, like, guys, whether or not you get so there's three positions to have on the death of Irwin. Position one, you're super sad because he died. Position two, you don't give a shit because he was on TV, so you don't give a shit. Position three, because he was on TV, you have a slight low-key hypothesis he was probably a worshiper of Satan because he was on TV. So, like, rejoice at the dying of the wicked. I'm not endorsing any of those things. All I'm saying is those are the three options we have. So, that being said, when was the last time you heard of someone being stung to death by a stingray? Oh, no, it's never happened before, and it's never going to happen again. And Steve Irwin was really famous on lots of TV shows. Come on, guys. Do you not see the pattern here? Yes, Bell River, thank you. Yeah, dude, guys, that's what I'm saying. It's like just break things down Barney style. I understand Steve Irwin was super entertaining to watch, but his entertainment factor is a non-issue. It's what are the spiritual and moral realities at hand here. And so we have to analyze patterns and et cetera, et cetera. That being said, I'm loving all the Instagram, all the comments in the live stream, blah, blah, blah. But you guys know this. Instagram is being gay. We only have 17 seconds left. So I'll be right back for the second half of the stream. Talk to you guys soon.